Well, hey YouTube, so today guys, we are back here with another stock review, and today we have a great one. We're going to be reviewing Robinhood, guys. I think Robinhood is a really polarizing company that you probably know very well. I hope so, at least. So this is really going to be a really interesting review. I want to hear what you guys think about this down below. But without further ado, let's begin the review here. So Robinhood, if you don't know what Robinhood is, I assume you do, but if you don't, this is a stock trading and crypto trading platform that can be found in iOS and Android. It basically anything in the NASDAQ, anything in the New York Stock Exchange. You can find pretty much all that stuff in there. There's a couple OTC stocks, like Tencent, for example, is one of the few OTC stocks in there. Rolls-Royce is another one you might see in there. But for the most part, they really focus on that NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange, which are the two largest in the world, 1 and 2 right there. So not exactly a bad deal there. And I think what the claim to fame to Robinhood was originally was the fact that Robinhood was the first real broker to offer commission-free trading back in 2011, I believe, is when it really started to be available to the end consumer. And it was a revolution for its time. The concept PFOF, which means payment for order flow, which is a controversial practice these days, but back then it was very, very innovative for its time. Essentially what that means is, instead of paying an ordinary trading commission, which back then was like $10 to buy and $10 to sell, I believe that's what TD Ameritrade used to charge in 2010, and I was never a fan of that. I never did trade. I was also a child, by the way. But in addition to that, also I never wanted to get into it. I never had my dad do it for me because I just didn't like that. And also the UI was pretty bad too on these platforms. And a lot of them still have a pretty bare bones, a pretty garbage looking UI. TD, like I just mentioned, still looks like garbage today. People keep claiming to me that Thinkorswim is better. I've looked at it. I still don't like it either. I think it's still garbage. So this is really what Robinhood brought to the table. Besides commission-free trading, very, very low barrier to entry, very easy to be approved, very user-friendly, and very easy to use UI and all that stuff. And that's kind of what Robinhood is today. They did have crypto, so that is new based on what was there in 2011. So, and they really just added 4 new cryptos this week, which is awesome. Now you have Shiba Inu, the meme Ethereum token. You have Solana in there. I know there's 2 other coins too, but I don't remember the other names. But they did add 4 coins this week, which is good. And I'll get into why later why that's a good thing, even though Shiba Inu is kind of a shit coin. Let's be honest here. I give Solana credit. Solana, it is a legitimate coin. I'm not gonna hate on Solana. But the other 2 coins, I apologize. I don't remember what they are. So the crypto thing is really interesting, and I will explain to you in a moment why. But back to what Robinhood is. So yeah, you can trade cryptos, you can trade stocks. There's not too many long-term investment options on there. I think this is when we start branching off to more of my critiques or how I feel about Robinhood. So we're going to start moving on from what it is, because in an essence, it's just a commission-free trading platform, but there is a lot more under the hood and a lot more that goes into it than that. And starting with the long-term plan of Robinhood, they do want to start bringing in more investment options for long-term investors, whether that's retirement funds, college funds, stuff like that. They do want to get more into that type of stuff. And that really does play into the fact that their assets, the AUM, assets under management, is significantly lower than their competitors. They only have about 60 billion in assets under management compared to Schwab, which is like 600 billion, and TD and Fidelity, they have exponentially more money under management. So that's how Robinhood wants to address one of those problems. And it remains to be seen if that will work. But that is something that people definitely diss Robinhood for. To be fair, the average age of a user in Robinhood is only about 31 compared to other platforms which are exponentially older. So you can't always take that for what it is, because the people on there tend to be younger. So they may not be as interested in those products, which is why Robinhood has not pushed them as much so far. So, there's a lot that goes into these things, so it's more than what meets the eye. In addition to that, revenues have been increasing every year, which is good. They just broke the 1 billion mark in 2021. So there's been some very, very nice growth on the revenue side. There is concerns because they keep losing money. So there was a pretty substantial decline in monthly active users for the first time in a very long time for Robinhood. It went from 18.9 million down to 17.3 in the 4th quarter, from the 3rd to the 4th. That's a very significant decline, and that does represent potentially a problem with Robinhood trying to get more consistent revenues and more consistent users, and the 401k option is one way of doing that. Also, adding more cryptos might help, although I think that's going to help more of their profit bottom line than the monthly active users, but I do think it will help as well. So they're going to need other cryptos to blow up this year to continue that revenue growth, I think, because the stock market itself has been pretty much a bear market over the past 6 to 12 months. So it's going to be hard for me to expect to see any significant gains from those sectors. So we're really going to need crypto to blast off for them to maintain that revenue growth, or they're really going to have to focus on this 401k stuff, which also may be the plan in this year. So it's going to be really interesting to see. They're also doing other things, to be fair, extending the trading hours. They want to do it from what was it, like 7 to 8:30 or something like that. So they do want to increase the trading hours as well. To be fair, this has been done by other competitors already, so you're kind of just matching what they've done. But hey, it's still better than nothing, you know. It's something I still want them to do, so I'm happy to see them at least addressing that problem as well. So the lack of many cryptos is starting to go away. They're breaking the wallets as well this year, which should be a very nice thing to see. You're going to have a share loaning program where you get money for sharing your stocks. To be fair, it's going to most likely be used for shorting your stock, so keep that in mind. You're kind of feeling naked shorting, but you know, whatever. That's not my job to tell you what to do, but I'm just letting you know that is something you're gonna have to keep in mind there. So yeah, and you know, this is really how Robinhood makes its money and what it's all about and all that stuff. There is controversy from the government side because the government is thinking about banning payment for order flow, which essentially means all your transactions and a bunch of other people's millions get sent to a clearinghouse, and this clearinghouse then takes it and then clears it for you, essentially. So it's kind of weird how this works, and you may have heard of the big GME controversy from last year, and that was a big problem back then. For example, because these clearinghouses like Citadel, which sounds like it's Darth Sidious or something from Star Wars, Citadel is actually the name of it. Because the companies like Citadel had access to all these trade information, in the controversy is that they took this information and made trades and shorted based on this information. So essentially there's an inherent conflict of interest there. That's the whole problem there. So I don't know, man. It's a really controversial situation, the whole thing, and that's why the government's thinking about doing this, getting rid of payment for order flow. And that will definitely affect Robinhood. It definitely will affect the business because that's how they make a majority of their money. They may have to start charging commissions if this doesn't work, or all that long-term investment package is going to have to be more convincing to the end user to get them on board. So I am concerned about the long-term revenue prospects. Well, maybe more short-term than long-term, to be fair. But I do think they will figure it out. And Robinhood really is a revolution, and rarely can I say the company is truly revolutionary. They have permanently changed the stock and crypto trading environment forever. By the way, the crypto investing is free, no commissions.